Hello and welcome. I'm Ryan Macasero. On August 19, the Bureau of Customs warned overseas Filipino workers against abusing Balikbayan box privileges. Customs Commissioner Bert Lina says the content of a Balikbayan box must not exceed $500 in value. Lina also gave the reminder to warn smugglers who exploit the use of these boxes to circumvent the law. Joining us today is Customs Commissioner Bert Lina to discuss standard operational procedures when inspecting imported packages. Good morning and thank you
Good
for joining
morning.
us.
Thank you for inviting me to have come over to this place.
We're glad to have you. So why the need for the reminder for about Balikbayan boxes?
Well, because based on our analysis and based on my own personal experience for the last 2 weeks, we were able to look into that the privilege being granted to Balikbayan is being abused. And as officers of the Bureau, it is incumbent on me to make sure that the law is being followed and implemented. So this is not really directed specifically to the Balikbayan or the OFWs,
Right.
but to the people that are involved in this business of forwarding and then customs brokerage and clearing it at customs. So we would like really to go back, revisit, and then make sure that this is implemented, and then also to facilitate trade
Yeah.
among this and to help these overseas people of ours to clear their shipments and make them, these things available to them. I know there are emotions involved here,
Yeah. Oh,
but
definitely.
this is what happened, and this has been misinterpreted by those people, not the OFWs that will be affected, but the players.
But I just wanted to backtrack a little bit. For those who don't know, what are the restrictions or what are the rules on Balikbayan boxes?
Well, when we say Balikbayan, this is really homecoming. These are the returning residents
Okay.
as defined by the law of the former President Marcos at the time. And the restrictions was about like $500, and it was amended to amount to now 10,000 pesos. Okay? But this is only available to what you call people that have worked overseas, the OFW.
Okay.
So if you are a Filipino coming over here or have stayed for even three weeks or a month, you do shopping, you're not a balikbayan but a returning resident, and you cannot avail of the privileges being granted to these balikbayan boxes, to the balikbayans or the overseas workers.
So they would have to. The intent is to physically return, is in order for them to avail of a Balikbayan box. Is that?
That is what the law says.
Okay.
You cannot just send here and there balikbayan boxes because you are staying abroad.
Oh, okay. So if I'm working overseas for 1 year and I send a box every couple of months, that's not
Allowed.
that's not allowed.
That's not allowed.
Okay.
You really have to have the intention of coming home. That's why you're called balikbayan. That is the intent. So again, there is a law passed at the time, and then you are exempt to an amount of 10,000 pesos. Beyond that, you are taxed.
Beyond 10,000 pesos.
Beyond 10,000. If you are a legitimate
Okay.
balikbayan.
Okay. I wanted to ask, what is the current inspection process when Balikbayan boxes come into the country? What goes on behind the scenes before it even arrives at its destination?
Oh, a very good question. Because if we have the time to look into the records
Yeah.
of the called balikbayan people, the sender and the receiver, will be able to make sure that these things are not opened anymore. But what is happening now, the documents are being submitted to us late, so much so that we have no more time to screen and profile. But this one are random. What is happening now, these are random check.
Okay.
Because if there are close to about 400,000 balikbayan boxes, we cannot really examine all of them at the same time. We will be running out of customs examiners.
Okay.
And then inspectors or how they call intelligence officers and enforcers. So what we are doing now, really, that is really a random check.
Random
When we do
inspection.
random inspection, we open the boxes, what's the content.
Yeah. Kasi isang malaking concern ng mga OFWs is yung tampering. May mga nagre-report sa social media na they experienced that items were missing from their boxes. And that, I think that was one of the big issues that got a lot of overseas Filipinos emotional.
Well, I would say them that they should not worry, because when we open the boxes or the containers first, we
Okay.
will open the containers and there are the boxes.
Yeah.
So when we do open it, unless we say 100% examination of all the boxes, we can still do a random check of the boxes and open the boxes, not 100%, right? And that will be aided later on if there are CCTVs and X-rays at the site of the forwarder broker.
Okay.
Which, moving along, we will be able to do that in the future.
So getting CCTVs and scanners is part of your plans
Yes.
in the near future.
Yeah.
How long do you have a
if
timeline?
if the forwarder and the brokers can do it immediately in a couple of months or so, then we will discount or we will remove the opening of the boxes. Unless there is really a derogatory report
Okay.
that those boxes contain, based on our intelligence, contain prohibited drugs or prohibited items,
Okay.
like spare parts for ammunitions or what have you.
So there's also responsibility on the forwarders to inspect the boxes.
I think so.
Okay.
There is their shared responsibility to make sure that they know who the shippers are.
Okay.
Know your shipper is one of the requirements there.
I think that So in the past few months, have you seen a spike in incidences of smuggling? Is that
Well, we started it only 2 weeks ago to
Okay.
have open selected areas of where we will really check. We haven't really checked the other areas like the Middle East, Europe. It only started the United States,
US.
yes,
Okay.
and some parts of Asia. And we found something out of the United States like televisions and refrigerators.
and those are restricted items?
It's not restricted, but you have to
You have to
declare.
pay.
And you have to pay the duties.
Okay.
You have to pay the duties and declare it.
Okay.
So that's all what we are requesting them. If you're not declaring it, then there is a misdeclaration. We might seize it. Or if not, if it's a first violation, and you tell them, hey, the shipper misdeclared, the broker can just appeal
Yeah.
and lessen the penalty, and then they can get it out.
I think another issue here is trust of the Bureau of Customs. So like if an OFW experiences that their box has been tampered with, what safeguards are in place? What can they do?
Let me assure the public or the OFW that once it is opened, it's properly returned to its place, and then it is retaped, and then we will sign it. And there are practically four people that are observing it. The broker of the consignee or the forwarder is always present there to witness.
Okay, but in the instance that they do feel like there is something missing or something was tampered with,
Well, I
What can
think
they do?
I think they can complain to us, and then we will attend to that.
okay. Another comment that was made, I think by the Deputy Commissioner last week, was the loss of tax revenues on Balikbayan boxes amounting to 600 million. But then at the same time, you said earlier that there's no plans to increase taxes. So
We cannot increase taxes, Richard, because whatever we are collecting them is based on the TCCP or the Tariff and Customs laws. So
Which is passed by Congress.
Yeah, which is passed by Congress. So again, and this is what I am appealing to our friends, that if you feel that the coverage of the duties and taxes are too high or too low, then we can appeal to Congress. And because for quite a long time, this has not been repealed. And the business model has changed. So I think it's high time for us to look into this. And moving forward, we can appeal to our lawmakers.
So, personally, there is no desire to push for an increase on the taxes on your end
Well, when we say the desire is to collect,
to collect.
not to raise, meaning to say to amend the law and then add taxes. No, it's not our desire there.
Okay.
But to collect what is really the legitimate duties and taxes, that is our responsibilities at the Bureau of Customs.
So when we talk about revenue losses from customs, how much is actually lost per
Well,
year?
that is the estimate of DEFCON.
600 million is the 600.
So far, it could go even higher because our computation is just premised on without the duties, based on the number of Balikbayan boxes and based on the freight alone paid. Because as you all know, when you compute the duties and taxes, the freight is included and the insurance.
So that's not just, is that loss to Balikbayan boxes or losses as a whole?
No, not yet losses as a whole. We cannot really predict what is the losses to the whole because we haven't really inspected and then make a trend on what is really the contents of a 40-footer container. So when we have opened 2 weeks ago one container that comes from the East Coast, we were able to collect an additional of 360,000
Okay.
from what they have paid of 80,000.
We have some questions from social media that I would like to just ask really quickly. From LD John Benigay on Twitter, he asks, why can't the BOC just buy an X-ray for the inspections? That's how modern inspection should be nowadays. Can you respond to that?
do. We have an X-rays for that, but you know, after the X-ray, we will still have to open. But that opening is not really 100% opening of all the boxes. Imagine opening 400,000. We have that profiling that you call or the screening, and that doesn't even go up to about 10%. Maybe we can only cover based on the personnel about 2%.
So, I mean, these reminders are really not new information or not new rules or anything like that. So,
Well, what happened, Richard, was that Balikbayan code boxes has been really abused. Who can really avail of the Balikbayan, you know? But because the box is called Balikbayan, everything is assumed that the one that is shipping there is the Balikbayan.
okay.
So the Balikbayan, if we have to redefine it, these are really the overseas workers of ours that have gone abroad and worked there, earned their living. And then these are the ones sending these things. But they can only send this, there is a limitation of sending this. One is you should only, there is a law there that you could only send it once. And then you have to accompany it with your passport that you're really coming over here. But anybody can send your cousin, your brother from US to you, but you have to pay taxes. Wala libre.
But I mean, because the reaction to this statement that you made really blew up on social media. A lot of overseas workers were angry. We had a conversation yesterday where there were hundreds and hundreds of comments directing their anger toward, the Bureau of Customs. So I
Well,
mean,
I cannot blame them. That's their own thing. you
Yeah.
know. But me, as the head of the bureau, I'd like really to appeal to them that this is the law, and then we have to follow it. And they have the protection there. If their goods get lost because of us, or it tampered because of us, then we will be responsible for it. But they have to be honest. As we go along, moving forward, we will ask them really to declare honestly what's the contents of the boxes, even ahead of time. Then when we see it, then we will pass it. But if the value is too high to a certain exemption, then we will tax them.
okay. And I wanted to read a comment from someone from the OFW sector, Ms. Susan Ople of the Blas Ople Policy Center. She wanted to tell the Bureau of Customs that sabi niya, kung nakaroon lang sana ng public hearings or prior consultations, baka nga mismo mga OFWs ang tumulong sa ating pamahalaan para mas maging maayos ang sistema. Were there dialogues set up with OFWs?
Yeah, not with the OFW, but with their freight forwarders.
With their freight forwarders.
And brokers.
What were these dialogues? What conversations
Well, we were
took place?
telling them that, hey guys, we need your help. This is what is happening.
Yeah.
And we feel we have to change or make sure that the law is being adhered to. If in the past they're not doing these things, this time your bureau, which I'm heading, will do what is best for our country, and that is to implement the law. The question here also was the good thing that our good friend Tuch was saying is we will be asking also POEA also to inform those people that before they would leave this country and work abroad, they have to be briefed. And I think they do, and they were given briefing before they leave this country. Maybe they must have forgotten it, or maybe the prodding of the relative here made them push to send here and there. But you know, they're protected with a certain provisions of the law by, by exempting them the first 10,000 if there are really balikbayan. But what is happening now, as I said, this balikbayan term is being abused. They're not really balikbayan in itself anymore, but sometimes they just keep on sending.
So, are you saying that maybe we should revisit what that means in terms of the law?
Oh yes, and as a matter of fact, I'm asking them, even Tuts, to really do a campaign on what you call the amount, because if the amount now is, what's a dollar to the pesos, because you're converting it to 45, unlike before, the dollar is two pesos to a dollar. So there's a big difference now. So I think we really have to adjust.
Are you open to engaging in dialogue with OFW, with the OFW
Oh
sector?
yes, by all means, because by this time we have to tell them, hey, our friends, this is what it is, and if you want them not to be covered on payment, on the duties and taxes, we have to go to Congress and says, sir, can you elevate or make the exceptions higher?
Is there anything else that you want to add? You said that you came here because there were a lot of misinformation circulating online on social
yes,
media.
and I think some of those things we would like to put them in proper perspective.
Okay.
And tell them, hey guys, we're here to help you. I have a sister also is a Balikbayan or an OFW. She's now working in Oman. And I'm with them because they generate the hard-earned dollars, and we really need that for our economy. And that's where we are giving them this reward on the balikbayan.
Yeah.
But it cannot be abused. The one thing that we would like really to zero in here is not really the balikbayan or OFW, because they're making inserts to the containers. The people somewhere there. Not the OFW, but the freight forwarders and the brokers. They're putting more inserts to what is beyond the balikbayan boxes.
Okay. I have another question from social media from Dean Bacobo. I wonder what customs is doing about the relatively few really big smugglers who account for billions of loss in revenue.
Well, I assure Dean Bacobo that we are in pursuit of those people. As a matter of fact, we have caught a lot of people in rice smuggling, sugar smuggling, and even this car smuggling. The latest of which it's there in media. We were able to catch about 12 or 14 brand new vehicles, high-end exotic vehicles. And then we have filed cases against erring customs people, and then brokers, and then importers of the Department of Justice.
So this is part of your long-term reform plan?
This is part of the Daang Matuwid reforms of our president, and where I rejoined because of this pursuit.
Right. And also, I wanted to ask, Um, because the language I think here is the OFW sector and the BOC are, at this very moment after this issue blew up, it seems like very adversarial. Are what do you?
I am not adversarial to them. But remember, there are two people here that are involved:
Okay,
the freight forwarders and the brokers.
okay,
And it's really at the middle is the OFW, is the customers, and we. These are all our customers on this side.
Yeah.
So, if the freight forwarders and the brokers would do something else beyond the Balikbayan box, here comes customs to tell them, hey, you cannot do that. And this is the problem that we are addressing.
okay. Is there anything else that you
Well,
want to
I
add before we
appeal to
wrap up?
our OFW. They are in good hands. Don't worry. If they are honest, and we'll treat them. And if they go beyond that, then we'll give them the law.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we've been speaking to Customs Commissioner Bert Lina in light of the controversy surrounding OFW's Balikbayan boxes. I'm Ryan Macasero. Thank you for joining us.